Tragic characters have become such a cheap trick in modern media. Writers think slapping a sad backstory on someone automatically makes them deep and compelling. Add dead parents, throw in some trauma, maybe kill their dog. Boom, instant tragic hero. But real tragic characters hit completely different. They're not just walking collections of sad moments. They're people whose struggles, choices, and consequences feel real, making their tragedy actually mean something. Guts from Berserk shows exactly how a tragic character should be written. Every moment of his suffering actively shapes who he becomes and how he acts. Growing up as a child soldier under an abusive father figure didn't just give him trauma, it fundamentally broke his ability to trust and connect with others. When he finally finds a family in the Band of the Hawk, his past makes him constantly fight between wanting to belong and wanting to run away. Even his fighting style tells his story. Brutal, self-destructive, but incredibly effective because that's all he was ever taught to be. His tragedy isn't just what happened to him, it's how those events shaped every single choice he makes. The real genius of Guts as a character comes from how his tragedy evolves. After the eclipse, when he loses everything, we don't just see him suffer. We watch him struggle between his humanity and his desire for revenge. His biggest battle isn't even against demons or godlike beings, it's against himself. Every time he tries to protect someone new, his past traumas fight against him. When he finally starts to heal and trust again, it feels earned because we've seen every step of that painful journey. That's what makes him tragic. Not just his suffering, but his constant fight to overcome it. Reiner from Attack on Titan shows another side of what makes a truly tragic character work. His tragedy comes from his own actions and their consequences. Starting as this seeming hero figure before being revealed as one of the people responsible for countless deaths. That's just the beginning. What makes Reiner's character truly tragic is watching him crack under the weight of his own choices. This dude literally develops a split personality because he can't handle the guilt of what he's done while pretending to be a protector. What makes Reiner's tragedy hit so hard is how understandable his initial choices were. As a kid, he bought into his society's propaganda and truly believed he was doing the right thing. But once he lived among the people he was supposed to destroy, once he built real connections with them, he couldn't maintain that belief anymore, yet he still had to keep going, keep pretending, keep killing. Not because he believed in it anymore, but because stopping would mean everything he'd done was meaningless. That's real tragedy. Not just suffering, but being trapped by your own choices. Homura from Madoka Magica takes tragic characters in yet another direction. Her entire character is built around a single wish to protect someone she loves, but every attempt to fulfill that wish just makes things worse. What makes her truly tragic isn't just that she fails, it's that she can't stop trying. Every time Loop shows her making different choices, trying new strategies, but always ending up with some version of failure. She keeps going despite knowing she's probably making everything worse, because stopping would mean accepting that all her suffering was pointless. The genius of Homura's character is how her tragedy builds over time. Each loop doesn't just add more trauma, it fundamentally changes who she is. She starts as this shy, weak character, but becomes increasingly cold and calculating because she's seen every possible way things can go wrong. Her tragedy isn't just in her suffering, but in how her desperate attempts to prevent one tragic outcome keep creating new ones. She becomes the very thing she was trying to fight against, and she's aware of it, but she still can't stop. This is what modern shows need to understand about writing tragic characters. It's not about piling on sad backstories or traumatic events. Real tragedy comes from how characters respond to their circumstances, the choices they make, and how those choices change them. We need to see them struggle, understand why they make terrible decisions, and feel the weight of those decisions' consequences. A character dying isn't tragic unless we understand the path that led them there. Writers need to stop trying to force emotional impact with cheap tragic backstories revealed at the last minute. That's not how real tragedy works. Look at our examples. Guts, Reiner, and Homura all have their tragic natures woven into every aspect of their characters. Their past experiences influence every decision they make, every relationship they form, every battle they fight. Their tragedies feel real because they're not just something that happened to them. They're an integral part of who they are. True tragedy in storytelling isn't about making the audience cry. It's about making them understand why characters make destructive choices, even while hoping they won't. It's about showing how past trauma shapes present decisions. But most importantly, it's about making all of this feel natural and earned rather than forced. Until more writers figure this out, we're going to keep getting shallow attempts at tragedy that make us roll our eyes instead of breaking our hearts.